Food. We all need it to sustain us, to connect us. And each of us make choices at least 3 times a day about the food that we eat. But are those choices having a positive impact? Or are we heading towards a broken food system? Right now, across Australia, people are coming together to create a new vision for our food future. We're asking honest questions and getting back to the roots of how our food is sourced.
Come on and do it in Amsterdam! Hey!
But I feel that we are a supermarket generation and we've forgotten what real food is. Food that's not highly processed and packaged.
As more people move to the city, we become disconnected with our food and where it's coming from.
That for even the most informed, aware consumer, that it's still quite hard to make a good choice.
Do we know what the products that we eat are actually treated with and how they are made? Even if it's about fruit and veggies, what goes in there that is natural and unnatural?
The sustainability of our current system, it's not very transparent, where our food comes from and what impact it might have.
We rely so heavily on the work of farmers. They literally feed us every day of the year, and yet we really just don't value the work that they do.
What keeps me up at night is the fact that we have an ageing farming population and we have a food system that doesn't support young farmers. Australia is a huge producer of food, but our food supply is not as secure as we'd like to think. Farmers are not getting a fair price for their produce. Increasing land prices are making entry into farming difficult. Over 50% of all food produced is wasted, and our growing cities are eating up more and more of our vital agricultural land. We are becoming increasingly removed from the source of our food. Our current food system thrives on this disconnection, yet there are farmers growing food right here on our doorstep. So we're on a mission to explore Sydney's food landscape, to find out how we can better support the people who feed us. First stop, our local farmers market. In a busy city, farmers markets are a convenient way to reconnect with the source of our food. More and more of them are popping up across the country, making it easier for us to buy fresh, local, seasonal produce and discover the faces behind our food. We're at Everleigh Markets on a Saturday morning to meet with Tobias, a young farmer from Currawong Organics.
We were told by a few foodies around Sydney that they couldn't get their hands on our broccoli. So we thought, well, we should come on down to the farmers market and start selling direct to the people. And then we realised pretty early on in the piece that people only buy so much broccoli. So we started growing kale to herbs, lettuce, you name it. Mum's veggie garden just grew in size, essentially. Yeah. I think one of the big challenges with Sydney food is getting people to realise that they need to support the local grower, and even the Australian grower to a broader degree. There are so many growers who are constantly having to compete with overseas markets. I can tell you an example of an orange grower out at Narromine. He's dozed all of his orchards in because there's no money in it, and because he's having to compete with oranges from California. People spend a lot less money on food. They don't want to spend the money on food. So that mentality needs to change. I think the greatest hope for Sydney food and people eating fresh food is more of these farmers markets. When shopping at a farmers market, you've got the farmer in front of you. You can ask any question from how it's grown to when it was picked, etc. You go to the supermarkets, stuff might be coming from overseas, you don't know what sprays they've used, you don't know when it was picked, it's how it got here, there are all those questions floating about and nobody really knows. Nobody that you can ask. So I think people are moving out of the supermarkets and coming down to these farmers markets just through awareness. And I think as more people eat fresh food, they'll get used to eating good fresh food and not want to go back to bad food. So I think that's definitely sign of a good future for Sydney food.
Where did I go? How did I come to reach this place?
While the farmers markets definitely made us feel more connected to the people who are producing our food, we needed to find out more about where local food is sourced and how our farmers are managing to feed a city of over 4 million people. We're visiting Malanda Park, a free-range pig farm in the Hawkesbury region, to meet with owner and farmer Matt Simmons and to find out why small-scale farming on the fringe of our city is so important.
Free-range pigs are a classic example of small-scale agriculture because to do it properly, it works well small-scale. I mean, it's been pushed along too by some of the chefs. There's some high-profile chefs that are really involved in pushing small-scale and just getting something different on your plate, you know, which is why we really encourage, particularly our chefs and butchers that buy from us, we encourage them to come out so they can see for themselves how the production system works, and then they can take that back to their customers and sell it, and they can have confidence in what they're talking about because they've seen it for themselves. Yeah, well, particularly in the Sydney Basin, I think the biggest challenge is going to be land price. But otherwise, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity in the Sydney Basin for agriculture. We've got the biggest population in Australia right on our doorstep, and it's, you know, there's still opportunity here. And I think if we let the opportunity slip, well, agriculture will be gone forever out of the Hawkesbury, but it can't come back. Yeah.
Down by the river where the river is so cold.
There's two types of people in Sydney. There's people that do value their food and want to know where their food comes from and are interested in the story behind the food. And then there's always your other areas of population that struggle to put food on the table, so they're not so interested in where their food comes from. But there is definitely a movement towards knowing where your food comes from and being more in touch with the production behind it. Because there's a lot of stuff out there. The Sydney Basin still produces a lot of food and some great product. You just got to find it.
Before it all got washed away.
Small farms rely on having direct relationships with the people they feed. So how can we get even more involved? Community-supported agriculture is gaining popularity across the world. This model, where people buy a share in a local farm, provides affordable access to fresh food while making sure farmers receive a fair price. Borja from Come To Us Farm in Dural has a vision to spread this new model across Sydney. So we're helping out on a harvest and learning more about how community-supported agriculture works.
I don't know, there's many things about farming. Farming is huge. There's lots of things involved. You're obviously working outside, you're listening to the birds while you're working, you're sweating at 11 o'clock with this very, very hard sun, and there's lots of things that makes it very special. In my opinion, the community-supported agriculture models, there's a few of them very different. Like, let's say you gather with your 200 friends, that's quite a lot of friends, but if you have like gathering with 200 people and saying like, why don't we just put some money, hire a land, hire a farmer, and what is needed, why don't we just have this guy or these people doing that for us in a good way, the way we like it, and healthy, and it's just that. So I think that what's going to happen is that we'll get 200, 300 members. So we will fill our farm for those people, and then we will start to look for other locations outside and try to get more people involved. We're starting to make this big step, and I realized I'm meeting a lot of young people that are really doing something that not only helping us with the market, but some people really want to farm, really want to make something different, and really want this model to work, not just talk about it, and they really want to put their hands on the ground, and that's really, really good, because that's the next generation at the end of the day, and yeah, we're here for that. We're right on time because the paella is just finished. It just needs 10 minutes, and I think we're gonna put it on the table, and everybody's gonna enjoy our traditional paella made out from our own veggies.
After meeting some of our local farmers and experiencing what it's like to harvest our food, we've definitely come away with a deeper appreciation of what it takes to feed a hungry city, and plenty of fresh ideas on how each of us can play a role in shaping a better food future.
I definitely appreciated the work that goes into harvesting and producing food. Like I said to the guys, I did it for about half an hour and my legs were aching, and I thought, like the price and the value of food when you don't connect with it is so hard to understand.
It's a pretty beautiful thing when
Borja can ask us to go get some broad beans and we can run down to the paddock and get them. And similar to like Malanda Park, you know, being there and seeing the pigs and then being able to go home and cook some of the pork, and it was delicious, and you have such a connection with it.
I guess for me it's going to farmers markets and actually talking to the producers and the farmers and find out about their story and being more aware of what food I buy, what's in season, and appreciate the value of it, the real value. Yeah.
I probably don't have the time for a veggie garden and otherwise, but I'm really happy to pay for it. I'm really happy to put my dollar behind it. I really see the value in paying for what it's truly worth. And even then, based on what we've seen today, I still think it's pretty cheap. So,
I agree. It made it really clear for me that if we want this, we have to ask for it. And we have to support it with our feet and with our hands and with our wallets. And if we don't, it's not going to be available to us.
Well, guys, thank you so much for coming out today. And look, thank you so much to Borja and Soraya for having us out on the farm today. Many of us actually do get our food from you guys, so it's been great to be able to come out and see the way in which it's produced and have that transparency in our choices. I think we picked, I don't know how many kilos of strawberries we picked today.
Oh, so. A lot. I've been checking now, and a lot.
30 to 40 kilos?
Yeah, easily. Easily 30 or 40 kilos. Well,
wow.
I have to do all the planets now.
After going on this journey to reconnect with the source of our food, it's clear that there are many ways we can each contribute to creating a new and improved food system. And it's going to be up to our generation to do it. Together, we need to challenge the status quo by supporting alternative solutions to how we produce, distribute, and consume food. Whether it be signing up to food box systems, shopping at local farmers markets, supporting food cooperatives, or getting involved with community-supported agriculture, diversity builds resilience. It's only once we start changing the decisions we make about food every day that we will start seeing bigger shifts in our food system. So it's up to each of us, one decision at a time.